having invited here to participate. I just came here to congratulate Institute of Chartered Accountants and all the office bearers for organizing this wonderful meet. The subject is very vital, very important, and members and office bearers of cooperative housing societies fail to understand what is happening and where they are heading. Now, the government has of late passed the Act of cooperative institutions. They say it is a step towards reform. We do not know. When implemented, we will see. Because we are specialists in passing act after act. Our acts are very good, but they are very good on papers, mostly. And when we see the implementation, we are far from the results. So, for this act also, we have to wait and see what would be the outcome. When this act went for, the bill, it was in the process of passing. They sent it to Joint Select Committee. I was one of the members of the Joint Select Committee, and we discussed in detail. Particularly, I insisted to insert a separate chapter for housing societies. See, our assembly consisting of 288 MLAs, they mostly come from the rural areas, from outside Mumbai. The Mumbai problems are quite different. In Mumbai, cooperative housing societies are facing such huge problems which my colleagues coming from the rural areas or other districts, they do not realize. In fact, I insisted to have a separate bill on cooperative housing societies. But in our system, the majority carries the point. So the ruling party did not accept my suggestion, and they recommended the draft which they had in mind. So it is yet to be seen now in future whether we get opportunity to have a separate act for cooperative housing societies. They have made one provision, there is a section. If a member fails to perform his duties, he may be disqualified. And what duties? They have given details, and one of the duties is attending the AGM. If a member fails to attend AGMs, 1, 2, 3 meetings, then he is likely to be disqualified. And such provisions are made there. And we know the housing cooperative societies, they face very complex problems. See, in case of cooperative sugar factories, it is the value of their share. There is big number, and he has paid some amount while purchasing the shares. So his investment is limited. Here in case of housing societies, a member is no doubt a shareholder in that society, but he is owning a flat in the society. He is owning his house, and that is costing much more. bigger than the value of that share. So he has on stakes his might be total earnings of his lifetime earnings. So it should not be compared with the shareholder of any sugar cooperative, milk cooperative, or any cooperative credit society. These two situations are very different, and that is why housing societies should have different legislation. Let us see if given a chance in future, if my party comes to power, I will ensure, at least I will put my best effort to see that cooperative housing society interests are protected in a better way. Now this redevelopment. The redevelopment is a very complicated issue, and there are conferences, seminars taking place everywhere, guiding the people. But still we continue to hear stories of failure in redevelopment. Societies fail on one or another reason. They take every care, but still they are not protected when something goes wrong. And now one more legislation has taken place, that is Housing Regulatory Act. But it is in confusion. They don't know whether the central government act prevails or state government act is there in place. Now which act comes when, first state or first central? On such issues, there is a lot of confusion in government circles. And therefore, the mishaps and scams continue. Ordinary members or ordinary house flat purchasers are still facing the difficulties, and they are still in the danger areas. So there should be some action on this act as soon as possible. We are also looking into that, but now this is not the time where we can really do something. We'll have to wait for 3-4 months more. Now, there are as many as 50,000 housing societies or buildings in Mumbai city alone where there is no occupation certificate issued. Now, this is another complex subject. Maharashtra government has passed dim conveyance bill. At the same time, many MLAs insisted that you also bring a legislation to take out a way in occupation certificate issue. And unnecessarily, these thousands and thousands societies and lakhs of members, they are paying double the amount of normal water bill, normal property taxes. They have to pay manifold, and crores of rupees they have to spend extra. And still, this word is hanging on their shoulder, that their building is not authorized, fully authorized. And sometimes, on any issue, if the case goes to any court, then, a case like Campacola emerges, comes up, and members are again confronted with this threat of losing their houses. So government should come forward. We insisted time and again, session after session, government kept promising, but nothing happened, and the occupation certificate issue is still pending. This again we have decided to insert in our manifesto, promising the voters of Mumbai that as soon as our Shiv Sena BJP government comes to power in state of Maharashtra, we will adopt this legislation for approving those buildings who do not have occupation certificate. That is our commitment. Our Honorable Rashtrapati ji, in this session of Parliament, in his speech, there is a mention of houses for all. By 2020, Rashtrapati ji, in turn the government, central government, has promised that by year 2020, everyone in India will get his own house. It is a very, very big promise. I do not know when this promise will see light of the day. This is a very big dream. But if that is to be implemented, again, housing is the subject divided in central government and state government's list. The state government has to take lead. But in our state here, we see that so many issues have not been tackled at all. There are issues pertaining to SRA, Slum Redevelopment Act. There is no clear mandate on transfer cases. Now one person staying in Chembur, in slum, if his job is transferred somewhere in Borivali or Dahisar, he tries to change his residence. And he sells his hutment there in Chembur and buys one near his job, somewhere in Borivali, Dahisar, Kandivali. Now this is genuine reason why that hut should not be transferred to his name. But there is no provision in the Act. They have extended the date, the state government extended the date, that cut-off date of 1195 to 2000. It's okay, well fine. Government at its sweet will can keep on extending these dates. Every time they say no more extension. Whatever hutments we have authorized is final, but that final date is never final. It's okay. But if they want to give justice, they should have given this facility of transferring that. Now I know a person, a driver, who used to drive a tempo. He was a casual worker. Slowly he joined BST as a base driver. He got new uniform, his lifestyle was improved, his earning went up. He was staying in a slum, Bhagat Singh Nagar in Goregaon, very dirty place to stay near a nala. But then he thought that now I must try to give better life for my family, and he selected a different slum, of course a hutment, but that slum had better facilities of toilet, tap water, etc. So he changed his house. He sold his first hut and bought next one. Now this is a genuine reason why that new hut should not be transferred to his name. We are always talking of quality life. His poor fellow tried to improve his life quality. So what is wrong? But the Act is not giving justice. They say that his hut is unauthorized. He is not eligible for new tenement in the proposed SRA scheme. So these are the contradictions in our various acts and rules, regulations pertaining to housing sector. The list is very long, and in housing sector, the government.
Sir, MHADA is matter.
Yes.
MHADA. Where you took hesitation.
Yes. Mr. Prabhu knows the subject. Now MHADA has 56 layouts. They have nearly 2 lakh units, housing units in the city. If properly organized, the redevelopment in MHADA layouts would create 2 lakh more houses, 2 lakhs original and 2 lakhs additional new sellable. So housing problem can be eased this way. This is a very good opportunity for MHADA authority or state government, but they have made mess. First it was 2.4 FSI, then they increased to 2.5, and now they have gone up to 3. It is a very easy measure just to grant the FSI more and try to bring in more cash. That is the only motive. They are not thinking in the terms of affordable housing. Now, affordable housing is a forgotten phrase. The planners are not considering this, the secretaries, the ministers, everyone just talking but doing nothing. And as a result, these assets are unutilized year after year. Now, this way there could be more housing opportunities for common people. Some may like, some may not like. But the true story is, in Mumbai today, whatever housing is developed, all those flats are bigger flats, luxurious flats. Because builder community is there to earn profits, and there is nothing wrong. So they are interested in developing large size flats, bigger flats costing 2 crores, 3 crores, 4 crores. In suburbs also, nobody can think of buying a flat costing less than 1 crore. Now, who has got 1 crore? Executives, managers, and people above that level. But in this city, the people of economically weaker section, low income group, they are the largest number. Now we have here clerks, assistants, drivers, domestic help, security personnel. All these people, they form the major chunk of the society. For them, there is no scope at all in this city. Now, the planners have not thought of this. As a result, we see very good towers coming up, skyscrapers coming up in south and central Mumbai. All the textile mill lands, they are being redeveloped. Okay, well, fine, city is looking good, but the city is losing their original residents. Those residents, mill workers or industrial workers, all other sub-staff, they are not at all getting any opportunity to stay there where they used to be for years, generation after generation. They were staying there. I sometimes think what vision the Britishers had when they opened up Mumbai city for textile industry. They thought of bringing the people, Konkan and Western Maharashtra, all those workers came from those regions. But they came, they got the jobs, but where they would stay. So the British rulers allowed low-cost housing, rented housing, and all those tenements sizing 180 feet, 200 feet, 150 feet. We see Parel, Lalbagh, Girgaon, all those areas, those kind of buildings, they are still there, 100 years old, 80 years old. But these poor people could get a shelter. Is such opportunity is available now? No. And nobody is talking of that. Now, redevelopment is taking place. We see very good, luxurious towers, skyscrapers, but the original Mumbai people, or industrial workers of belonging to economically weaker section or low income group, they are denied the shelters in city. As a result, in 2011 census, Mumbai island city showed decrease in population. and suburbs show increase in population. This is evident. You are experts in finance. You all members of this institute. You please focus on this, think on this, on these terms. Collectively, you can impress on planners, people in government, people in political parties, and ensure that this city needs small houses, very small size houses, rented houses, affordable houses for those low income group people. And if this happens, I think we'll be in a position to do justice to all. And our Modi government's dream, by year 2020, there should be a situation where this country would provide housing to all. That is a very big dream, but there could be a step forward in this direction if we think on practical lines. I think whatever opportunity I got here to have a word with you, I tried to share my views, but it's a very vast subject, very important subject, and since last 2 days you are debating on this, I would definitely try to understand whatever suggestions coming out of this conference and try to follow those footsteps in my working. With these words, once again, I thank Mr. Ramesh Prabhu and his colleagues for inviting me, giving me this opportunity to share my views with you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Vande Mataram.